Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. The Queen, Demetri K, she on her way. And I am the 5-star general. June 19th has cleared the Senate. But will they make it a national holiday? Say, man, we about to get to it, and we gonna talk about it tonight. Say, man, let's get to it now. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. You know, without you good people, we wouldn't have a show. So we do appreciate you taking the time to stop by and hang out. Demetri K is on the way. She dealing with some technical issues, which ain't major, but she'll be in here in a second. I want to start it off by saying that House Senate, I think it's Senate District 15, put out a letter saying they want to censor Harold Dutton. And, for his actions in the last legislative session. And here's the thing about it, Dutton made some moves that some people questioned during the last session. And one of those moves dealt with a transgender bill that had died, and he brought it back up. And then, of course, he didn't walk out the night that the Democrats walked out on SB 7. So I'm looking at the letter, and I got to read it twice because it doesn't mention him not walking out for Senate Bill 7. It only mentions about the transgender bill. So when I looked and I thought about it, you want to censor State Representative Harold Dutton based on a bill that has something to do with sexuality, but you don't want to censor him based on the fact that he left his Democratic colleagues hanging over a bill that supposedly affected Black and brown voters. I don't understand that. I talked to somebody, they felt the same way that I felt. And it's just like, okay, we want to censor him, but we don't really want to hit him with the big stuff. We want to hit him with the small stuff. So, man, let me tell y'all something. You can censor Dutton all you want, but until you can get them seniors to stop voting for him, you ain't gonna get him out of office. You ain't gonna get him out of office. I'm just telling you what it is. And I think that all these old issues that deal with sexuality, say, man, I'm really sick of hearing it, man. Can we get down to business? Because there's far more stuff that you could censor Dutton on. He's on the educational committee. Why don't you go look over there? We could censor him on a lot of stuff if that's what you want to do. But I think that if you're going to censor Dutton, you need to look at every one of them legislators and look at their work from the last session, because you need to censor a bunch of them. Not just Harold Dutton. You need to censor a bunch of y'all. So bottom line, go on and do what you need to do. But when you go back in there for special session, don't be surprised if DPS is standing at the door and you don't get up out of there this time. Play the game if you want. What's up, Donovan?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday. And hey, don't forget to hit that Cash App, $2 Tuesdays. We'll put the link up to go toward the war chest. We're going to get into that. It's a funny thing that we're talking about sanctioning folks and quieting folks up. Ilhan Omar has been sanctioned in Congress for some of the things that she said in regards to the United States and how it treats other people outside of the United States and people of color. And they are going to sanction her and do this. And it's just, the funny thing about the Democrats is they love to eat their own. They have some good people there, and they like to just smash those people and try to get them in line. And it's like, we already know that there's white supremacy is one bird with two wings. So we know that. And they just love to eat each other up. Idiot Congressperson Marjorie Greene, she went to the Holocaust Museum and she said, "Oh, I've made a mistake." She's always making these mistakes. The woman's a clown. You know, she's just out there, just like most, you know, people who are on this stuff are, right? But here's the thing. She said, "Oh my God," and this is what got me triggered. She said, "Oh my God, nothing compares to the Jewish Holocaust." Really? Nothing to the Jewish Holocaust. I'm not even going to talk about the slave trade, which is estimated just coming over the Atlantic, 80 million black people being killed. I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to talk about the 15 million Congolese in Africa that were killed under the Belgium King Leopold in the early 20th century. We could talk about the Ugandans. We can talk about the Vietnamese. We could talk about the killing fields of Cambodia. So 6 million versus 80 million versus 15 million versus 3 million in our modern time. Nothing compares to the Holocaust. Isn't it funny how they can always take the mantra of pseudo-white people's Holocaust, but when it comes to black people, it never existed. It didn't happen. We got to move on and move forward. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about we need to be on code and we need to get these people on code. If she could go to the museum and the Jews have you worry about them and stuff, that's why, you know, a lot of my Jewish friends, when they come in my face talking about the Holocaust, I tell them to get the fuck out my face. Simple as that. If you don't believe in a black Holocaust, I cannot believe in a Jewish Holocaust. I just can't believe in it. I know there was a Holocaust, but I'm just saying, don't make me cry for you when you definitely won't cry for me. Demetra?
All right now. So hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday night's edition of the War Zone. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. It's early, but we, just going to assume that you're going to have a great week from this point out. So if you could do us a favor and share this live so everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. So we're going to talk about a whole host of things tonight. But first, we want to start it off with, I don't know if you heard or not, but Juneteenth being made a national holiday has passed through the Senate, which is, usually one of the hardest places for anything to pass through, especially in regards to Black people. So, I'm not really quite sure what that's about, but it has to pass through the House. And they're saying, it should pass through the House, but you never know, right? So anyway, for you guys don't know, Juneteenth is coming up. Juneteenth is June 19th, where Black people were officially free, totally free, right? Texas was the last to get the word that slavery had ended and got it the word about 2.5 years after slavery had actually ended. And so June 19th, 1865 is the official day that all slaves in America were free physically to some degree, right? And so over the years, there's been a lot of celebrations. A lot of people in the conscious community says that we should celebrate Juneteenth, June 19th, opposed to July 4th, because July 4th, we were not free. We were still slaves. And 1776 is when the, Independence Day originally kicked off. So they said that we should celebrate Juneteenth instead of July 4th. And so it's going to be a national holiday, which means that there's going to be a paid holiday if you work or whatever the case is, right? So federally, they're celebrating it. Now, I guess that doesn't mean that all states will or have to celebrate it. You guys remember when they made Martin Luther King a federal holiday? Arizona was the last to hold out under that of, the senator, he just died. John, he ran for president. Name slips my mind. But anyway, so they're in Arizona.
John
McCain.
McCain, yeah.
It just slipped my mind. So anyway,
Insane McCain.
Yeah, so that haunted him for a very long time because he did not want to make Martin Luther King a national holiday, and they finally did. So Juneteenth is supposed to be that, but we know it means nothing unless they write the check. So you guys, what say you?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen for a variety of reasons. One reason, Joe Manchin. They can't control it. So if he ain't rocking with them, then it is what it is. The biggest reason is the reason that they continuously bring up when it's time to even get to that point. In order for a holiday to become a national holiday, you have to shut the U.S. government down completely. And they feel that if they continue to shut the U.S. government down for these national holidays, that when the government shut down, they don't make money. They don't make money. So I don't think that they're going to get to the point where it happens. It sounds great, but I don't know if we should be celebrating Juneteenth because a whole bunch of y'all still slaves. A whole bunch of y'all still slaves. Maybe not with the chains, but in your mind. So what you need another day where you can sit out and barbecue and do all the shit you do when in all actuality, you're still a slave in your mind. So I just think that it should be recognized, no questions, but I don't think that it'll happen because the government does not want to shut down an additional day. And that's what it boils down to. Think about it. That was a big issue that took forever for Martin Luther King Day. They didn't want to shut the government down, and that's all it boils down to. So y'all out there that's still slaves, take your ass to work on June 19th.
I personally think, once again, they understand Black people and the Black vote. You give us some symbolism. You act like you're trying to do something, knowing that you ain't going to do a damn thing in the end, and we'll go all excited about it. Because, like I said, right now, you're seeing the normal blogs that mislead us, talking about, oh, Juneteenth just passed. Everybody's getting excited about this Juneteenth thing that hasn't officially passed yet. But even if it did, it's symbolism. What's that going to do? Is that going to change the economics within your pocket? Is that going to get you a house? Is that going to get your kids better schooling? Is that going to get you a reparations check? Do you see what I'm saying? They're taking the lesser of the situation and saying, well, maybe if we give them a holiday, they'll get off the reparations kick. They'll get off the student loan kick. They'll get off, maybe the all the stuff that we promised them. They'll get that. And niggas are. They'll get excited, and they'll have their barbecues. They'll be whooping in the street and tee-heeing and all that other stuff. And we got our Black Boule that'll push all this shit out there. They're just selling us more symbolism because, again, what does that have to do with putting more money in my pocket? We have more than enough holidays to celebrate. And like I said, Labor Day. Not saying that Black people don't work, but we're disproportionately unemployed compared to all the other groups. And we are the most outgoing group that celebrates Labor Day more than any other group in the United States. And yet more than half of us are unemployed.
Well, for me, learn your history. Some people want to celebrate Juneteenth, don't even know what it means. They don't understand the significance of it. And stop thinking that the Black politicians finna go out here go to bat for us on that stuff. That we got far more issues, like Donovan said, that we need to be addressing. And I get it, but they'll just use Juneteenth as another day to try to convince you to vote Democrat. That's all they're gonna use it for. But I don't see it clearing. I just don't, because they don't want to shut the U.S. government down, man. That's all it boils down to. But learn your history first. Yeah,
well, what about this? Okay, wait a minute. You can pass Juneteenth through, and let's say it goes through flying colors. That's good and great. That's all good and great. Wait, you can pass that through, but you can't pass a George Floyd bill. You can't pass reparations, but you can pass this meaningless, meatless, vitamless bill through that isn't going to help me isn't going to do anything for me but give me symbolism. But you can pass that through with almost no problems. But when it comes to stuff that Black people really need, you can't pass it, or it gets held up. Qualified immunity, all this other stuff. Can't get through, but you're going to give us this. Here's a bone. Go get that.
Ron Terrell, how you doing? I've seen that you asked this question once before. You say, who do y'all think was more influential in the freedom of slaves, Abraham Lincoln or Frederick Douglass?
Douglass.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand your question as far as who was more influential, because we know ultimately Abraham Lincoln, he had more power to free the slaves. than Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was a former slave who escaped to the North, started the North Star news publication, and he advocated for the freedom of slaves. So he was an abolitionist, for lack of better words, and he did have some conversations with Abraham Lincoln in regards to, freeing the slaves and all of that. But we also got to know that Abraham Lincoln didn't care necessarily that Black people were free because slavery was inhumane. He said that if it meant keeping the Union together by freeing slaves, then I'll do that. But if it's the opposite, then I'll do that too. So it wasn't like he was some noble guy. Now, as far as influence, did Frederick Douglass have some influence on Abraham Lincoln? I don't know. But as far as who actually had the power to do something, that is a separate question. So that's why I say it's kind of hard to answer your question, because Frederick Douglass, while he, put it out there via his publications about what was going on with slavery and the need for it to end, did he ultimately have the power to pull the plug on it?
But why? I mean, this is a question that got me kicked out of history class. If you're getting all this free labor, why you just wake up one morning and want to set all the Negroes free? What's the backstory? Why did he actually do it? Is it true that he needed help in the Civil War? They were getting their ass kicked and he needed some help? You ain't do us no motherfucking favors. If you really wanted to do something, Abe, you didn't need no motherfucking bill, or you didn't have to pass nothing. You could have set your slaves free long before that. So, we got other issues, man. Like you said, is this going to fix our school system? Is this going to give us the money that we rightfully deserve? Fuck passing a bill to celebrate freeing slaves. Man, give us our motherfucking money, man. Man, we need our chippers, man. If you ain't talking about no money, man, I ain't holding no conversation with you on no political level, man.
The other thing, too, really quick, I want to say is that during the time of the Civil War, the South was talking about seceding from the rest of the nation. And so that was another concern of Abraham Lincoln. Like, I want to keep the Union together, much like we see now. Texas wants to get away from everybody. And, speaking of Texas,
and California today was talking about, doing that as well, since we have the great economy here in California.
Well, Texas has been talking about doing it forever, and it's so hot out here, and they being the ERCOT in this freaking power grid and all that, they keep sending out all these notices talking about conserve your energy. We might have some more rolling blackouts. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? So
can they free the electricity or just cut Texas out the map and let us float in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico? Because this shit is ridiculous right now. Conserve the energy in 100-degree heat.
They talk about they want you to sleep in an 82 degree at night. Turn your thermostat on to 82 degrees. And like, what?
Yeah. So realistically, if you sleep in an 82-degree heat, inside of your house is 100 outside, going to be hotter in the house. So I guess you're getting back to the slave quarters.
Right. So, so back to my point about, the South wanting to succeed mean getting away from everybody else in the United States. Abraham Lincoln didn't want that, not on his watch anyway. So whatever was more beneficial to keeping the Union together, that's what he went with. So I'm not discounting anything, the great Frederick Douglass has done. But I just think it's a trick question, because when you ask who was more influential, to me, influence is actually the person that pulled the plug on the institution of slavery. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to answer that.
Yeah, and let me just say this. It is on record that Abraham Lincoln did not believe that blacks were equal to whites. He was a man of his time. He actually believed that white people were superior. So, this fake moniker they have in the history book that Abe was this benevolent type person is not true. The only reason he let black people serve in the military during that war was they had a man shortage, as the white guys were like, it ain't worth all this. And these were the guys from the North. And so they had a man shortage because for years, the first 2 or 3 years of the conflict, they wouldn't let black people serve. And then when it became apparent that there was a man shortage going on and that if they had more manpower, they could bring this thing to a conclusion, that's what they did. But in conclusion of that, Abraham Lincoln and the radical Republicans were in negotiations of what to do with the black people afterwards. And as you know, one of the only black colonies that the United States has is in Liberia, Africa. And so they were going to try to work a plan on how to get rid of the blacks out of America after the war was over. But unfortunately, he got killed and it went left, right, and wherever else.
Yeah, so I was drinking a frozen ice bottle. It was just freaking hot today, okay?
107 where I'm at, 107.
That's cute. However, it was 97 here with the humidity of hell, okay? So yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, Juneteenth being recognized as a national holiday, I mean, I think it's cute. And you know, we should be celebrating it anyway. But again, we got to be careful because it's more of, well, we gave y'all something for slavery. We're recognizing that you guys need it because, you know, slavery ending, but you're not recognizing why we need the holiday. If we even need it as a word, right? You're not recognizing why Juneteenth is even a day. In order to recognize why we need Juneteenth per se, then you have to recognize that you should, you know, pay reparations for the wrong that was done to our people and the wrong that's still being done to our people, right? But so what it is more symbolism. And they know most Negroes will fall for it and say, oh, they gave us Juneteenth. See, ooh, that Joe Biden in them. Because it has to go to Joe Biden last, right? Joe Biden, look what they did. They gave us Juneteenth. But it's like, that's cute. But what about the check? That's the ultimate Juneteenth. We can have Juneteenth every day with our reparations. And so I'm just saying, don't fall for it. Just like when Bill Clinton rendered his apology, you know, for slavery and to the Tuskegee Airmen and all of that, people like, oh my God, he apologized. It's like, okay, you can keep your apology, write the check. And that I'm sure they got together along with the black, you know, Congressional Black Caucus and all of them. Yeah, go on and give them a holiday and that'll be something. That'll get them, you know, off of this whole reparations thing. But I mean, this is the other thing too. Like, we're excited about Juneteenth when most of us don't even celebrate Juneteenth. Most of us don't even know what Juneteenth is. And when I say us, I'm talking about us as black people. Have no idea as to even what that means.
Well, July 4th, 1776. You get out here and you spend up all your goddamn money. You buy all your little fireworks and you fire the pit up to celebrate a day when you was getting your ass whooped. Wow. I get it. I actually get it. No matter if you're Republican, Democrat, whatever you want to say, if you're only as a black person, when you fire that goddamn pit up on the 4th of July, you celebrating the fact that you was getting your ass whooped. And that's what it is. So I don't give a damn what day. I've told you several times. There are several days that are earmarked on the calendar that I don't understand. You feel me? Demetri, don't drink nothing right now. You might spit it out. You telling me we need to sit here and go over Juneteenth and folk need to figure this out when you celebrate a day for a little green motherfucker called a leprechaun. You celebrate a day for an animal that stick his motherfucking head up out the ground. But for black people, we got to go through all the back and forth. I'm talking about you do a full-fledged program for Groundhog Day. Groundhog Negroes. Hold on, let me go slow for you. Groundhog Negroes. Leprechauns. Witches. Goblins. But black people, we got to go through all this extra shit. Keep your holiday and drop our money off me.
Yeah, again, but see, but this goes to show you how immature we are politically and how they know what is going to galvanize us to get us excited. Hose to the polls, all this bullshit that didn't get us anything. Now, Joe Biden is over in Europe with the other white supremacists of Europe, and they're having a jolly old time over there while his bill and his agenda stalls here in the United States. What's more important? Did we not send him? I didn't send him, you guys, but wasn't he made president to fix the problems over here first? Period. I know we've got alliances. He could do what we're doing. He could Zelle and Zoom and all that other stuff, and he needs to talk to some, national party. But we've got issues here in the United States with people losing their homes, uprisings, police murders, all kinds of stuff that's going on here that he was elected to lead us out of and solve the problems. But he's over there partying with his other white supremacist friends, worried about what's going on. And yet our agenda doesn't get looked at. And we got these people here that look like us, act like us, that are just like, oh, he's doing such a great job. What great job is this person doing? And then today I'm arguing with somebody, on a post about Kamala Harris and the factual things known about Kamala Harris. And this person wants to act like Joe Brown, who's the former judge on TV. What Joe Brown was saying, he was on Kwame's Bus Life, was not true. I said, look, you can't refute facts. But yet this person, once again, black people, we love to repeat what the master has to say. We sick, massa? Are we sick? No, these are facts. Kamala Harris was a hoe. That's a fact. You can't refute it. You can't say anything about it. But the first thing this person does, and I love her to death, whatever. But, yeah, but the first thing this person does is get on her feminist train. I don't know what it is about you feminists, but if somebody's a hoe and they're a known hoe, why are you defending it? It's just facts. We need to stay on code.
They get upset because of who she is. They get upset because of her status. And when you speak the truth to these people that sit in these influential positions, you can't call them nothing. You can't call them a spade. But let that young girl get out there with half her ass hanging out in her Daisy Dukes. She all kind of hoes. But you can sit in a political office and suck a mother all day long, but we can't call you what you are. Man, please. And I don't give a damn. I salute you.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm not a feminist, never have, and never will be a feminist. I just don't partake in calling Kamala a hoe. Or, I didn't do it with Melania either, because I feel like there's so many other things we could be talking about other than who she's sleeping with and, all of that. Because at the end of the day, and I'm not a Kamala supporter at all, but at the end of the day, everybody done did something they ain't proud of, okay? And, if I had to defend it, I'm like, big ups to her. At least she got the second highest office in the land behind all of that gyrating she was doing, right? I mean, so I'm just saying, it's like, I don't get into calling her a hoe and, all of that. I just think, especially when it comes to, and I know people are going to say she's not black. She says she's black. When it comes to black women, we should really stop talking up under their clothes. If you want to talk about, let me finish.
Good.
Because if you want to talk about Kamala, talk about the mass incarceration that she engaged in California, and the faulty work that her lab technicians did when she was, in office as far as Attorney General in California. Talk about her truancy programs where she locked up, parents for their children not going to school, including Cherie Peoples, who we had on here, who went to jail due to her daughter, who was very sickle cell. I think she had sickle cell anemia. She went to jail behind her daughter. So there's a lot of stuff we could talk about other than who Kamala was sleeping with and who she is sleeping with, right? I don't know, because especially nowadays in social media, you have so many people fighting with each other, going back and forth over nonsense. And we got people who are really watching us, who are trying to learn something. And when we go below the low-hanging fruit, then it just kind of, it becomes entertainment. I like to entertain sometimes, but I don't want that to be the focal point of what I do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, okay, but here's the point. My point was we need to stay on code. The thing is, what I'm saying is, the conversation wasn't about if she's a hoe or she's not a hoe. It was about, in regards, how did she get to her position? She did sleep her way to the position, whatever. But what I'm saying is, why is it that people defend what is factual before they even know? If you don't know that she was a hoe or she did certain things to get there, how are you speaking on something that you know nothing about, but it's been written in articles and it's factual information? That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about, like, with the Judge Joe Brown thing. Judge Joe Brown was basically given a chronological about her history and the Joe Biden connection and all this other stuff. If you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. But my point is, yeah, but my point is, immediately people will go in there with no information, low information people, defend it, and then say, oops. And this is why politically we get into trouble. We elect these people into office, and then we say, oh, Joe Biden, oh, I thought he was going to do the oops. And that's what, what we're talking about. It's not about what she sleeping with, whatever. That's not the point. The point is knowing the factual stuff before you defend somebody. That's like saying, wow, I think Jeffrey Dahmer's a great guy. He never did nothing to me. But do you know the history of Jeffrey Dahmer?
I mean, I guess I can agree with that to some degree, but what does that fact do for us as Black people? How does that help us knowing that she slept with, whoever she slept with? How does that help us?
It doesn't help us. It's part of the chronology of how she got into office. This woman, in less than, 25 years, overstepped other women in state government to get positions that she got that she was not qualified for.
Kamala, y'all really think Kamala's the only one that sucked cock to get to the top?
Oh, no.
Hold on. Kamala's the only one that got caught sucking cock to get to the top. Let's not get that.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. Remember, whenever a Black man does it, like Willie Brown, that's who she was engaged with, right? She was in a relationship with Willie Brown. When a Black man does it, they're going to do everything they can to expose it. And this is what I'm saying. It's known fact. So it's out there. I'm sure Bill Clinton, everybody else, all these white folks have done it. There's no doubt about it. But when a Black person does it, it's out there. It's exposed. But my point is, if you don't know what you're talking about and you don't know the history, I had to go off on a few people. I'm tired of doing the homework for you. If you're interested in Kamala's history, Google it. You got a smartphone. It's there. People don't want to be sued out here in these streets. It's got to be true if it's being, not got to be true, but if it's already in print and you don't know nothing about it, before you respond, do your homework. That's all we're saying. And like I said, the feminazis immediately jump on it. Oh, you're just attacking her because of, no. That was factual.
Well, I like the way y'all going at it tonight. I will say this. When it's a man, we'll drag him to no degree. Andrew Gillum. Who gave a damn who Gillum was sleeping with in that room? Who cared? They drug him. Political career's over. No, Kamala's not the first one to do what she did. There's several of them that have done it. You had a whole president up there getting his dick sucked while he, in office. But they kind of just talked about it and it hurry up and went away. I don't get into the feminist thing because I the Me Too and all that. I bring it on, Me Too. You know how I feel. But I kind of agree with you to a certain degree. And here's the problem that I have with factual, truthful information. We shouldn't talk about it. But let Gary Monroe get out there while he's running for office and do something fucked up. Let me do anything. Let me sleep with multiple women and it come out. Well, goddamn, didn't they just try that shit with me last summer? That was the biggest shit in the world. And I'm single. But, you know, I get it. I get it from both of y'all. I get it. We should be talking about other things. The only thing I can tell them, when you're a politician, don't do shit that can make the news. Because if it make the news, people gonna talk about it. Now, me, I could say, you know me, I say what's on my heart, but I ain't gonna say it right now because it might make a bunch of y'all mad. But, you know, it's a bunch of them that used to suck the meanest. Well, you know, because you's a lucky man.
I mean, I don't know who that is referring to, but I take your word for it. But yeah, I mean, there's so much other stuff we could talk about. I mean, Kamala kicking it with Willie Brown or whoever, I don't care about that. Honestly, I don't. What I do care about is, you know, what she has the ability to do, you know, to the people she is supposed to serve. That's what I care about. As far as Andrew Gillum and anybody else, I mean, come on, man. The man got caught in the hotel with two dudes, butt ass naked, drunk and drugged. And I mean, did we catch Kamala doing any of that?
Yes, there's pictures on.
You're lying. See, you're lying. But you know, that to me is apples and oranges. I mean, I don't know. I'm on the mind frame. Listen, if that's what she did to get to where she got somewhere. There's a lot of women giving it away for a Happy Meal or less. She got to be VP due to getting horizontal with low down Willie Brown. I mean, I don't know, y'all. I can have a V8 right now.
No, the point is, if you don't know the background of a candidate, do your research before you out there defending this and defending that and all this other stuff. And that's a problem in our community. You see it in the churches and whatever. Oh, the pastor never slept with such and such. He slept with 4 of them in the front bench. 4 of them. But all these people defending the pastor. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of our problems in our community. And that's my point. We need to do our research before we get behind these people and see if they meet your individual moral standards in whatever political positions.
I don't think moral standards has anything to do with it. I think we pick and choose who we gonna drag. We pick and choose who we gonna support. You know, Tanaya says, please don't make Gillum out to be a victim. He was partying, I guess that's what she wanted to say, and I believe his wife supported his activities. But who gives a damn who he was sleeping with? Did I give a damn that Marion Barry was a bona fide crackhead, but one of the best mayors that DC ever saw in their life? I only gave a damn about him being the best mayor. DC ain't been the same since he been gone. So, you know, the thing is we get to pick and choose who we want to support. And I think it is important to know if some of these people have slept their way to the top, whether male or female, because that means we had some qualified people that were overlooked because they didn't want to put your dick in their mouth. So, you know, that's how I feel about it. I mean, as a person, I don't know this lady. Don't want to know her. Not based on her record, what Demetri was talking about, you know, the things that affected people. I don't want to know her. I didn't support her when she ran for president, and I'm not going to support her now. But I think it's important to know who's sucking who.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, I don't know. I just think people do all kind of unscrupulous things to get to where they are. I mean, I was a personal banker at one point in time, and I had other bankers straight up steal my customers. Mine, steal them, and say, "Oh, was that your client?" You know, so I'm not condoning that. Obviously, pissed me off, but people do all kind of stuff that's cutthroat. But I just think continuing to dwell on Kamala's bedroom activities, I just think it's okay. What are we supposed to do Let me finish. What are we supposed to do with that information at this point? Whether it's a fact or it's fallacy, what are we supposed to do with it? We should be keeping an eye on what she's doing now. The fact that she's speaking out of both sides of her mouth in regards to the border. That's important, isn't it?
Again, though, it's not about Kamala's sexual escapades. It's about knowing people and issues behind the scenes before you speak on it. You look pretty ignorant when you're defending somebody that just mass murdered 30,000 people or whatever the situation is. And that's the problem with Black people. We don't do our research. We don't do our homework. Again, this bill that is coming up that we're talking about, this Juneteenth bill, they can get all this done and pass with no issues or whatever. Why aren't we asking ourselves, what is behind this? Why are they doing this? They can't get George Floyd bill. They obviously they're okay with Black people being murdered in the street and in our homes. We can't get reparations. We can't even get a vote on the study of reparations. The point is, Black people, we need to understand when they throw us a bone like this, we need to ask questions of what's behind this? Where is this going?
So while I agree with that, but as long as we keep talking about the gossipy, low-hanging fruit, the people who are ignorant to what is really going on will never hear that because they're going to be too busy trying to wade through who she's sleeping with, who she slept with, what she did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but you're missing the point.
I'm not missing the point. I get exactly what you're saying. I hear exactly what you're saying.
I just told you Kamala was the subject today. I was telling you a factual thing that happened today. And hell with all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, so whoever you're arguing with over that is like, okay, well, what other information could they have been getting besides who the hell she was sleeping with before she got to where she is?
Well, I tell you this, I'm looking at Fayville Bowie's comment on another page. She say, I do not, and I want to read this slow. I do not care what people did long ago. It's what they are doing now. It's called repentance and growth.
Oh, so Joe Biden.
Damn it, you're from Chicago. Let R. Kelly out of jail. Let Bill Cosby out of jail.
But did Kamala commit a crime, though?
Yes, by withholding evidence and stuff. Yeah, she did.
I'm talking about who she was sleeping with. Let's keep with the apple.
Any woman of that age that would sleep with Willie Brown, that's a fucking crime.
I'll take that as a no.
But it's about repentance. I mean, I think when we talk about the higher power, when you tell him with repentance, he just don't go on sexual activity and say, well, you repented for that, you're good. That's why I'm saying we pick and choose who we want to drag. But I mean, I don't care what she did. I don't support her. I don't like her as a politician. So I don't care what she did. I mean, is it cool for old Monroe to sleep his way to the top? I'd be glad to give it a shot.
Yeah, especially when you're not qualified. It's one thing if you do it and you're qualified to be in those positions, but when you're not qualified, and Kamala wasn't, Willie Brown put her on a board of doctors that you had to be a doctor to be put there. It was a 6-figure salary, then gave her a BMW. So I don't know what she was doing, how she was doing it, but that's not the point. Fayville's saying that it doesn't matter what they did in the past, it's what they're doing now. So being a racist and a Dixiecrat in the past has no effect on Joe Biden not standing with Black people today. That's my question.
I mean, I would just like to assume she was talking about the subject of Kamala sleeping around or sleeping her way to the top. I mean, I don't know about all the other stuff.
So her ideology, she picks and chooses.
I think
you don't care about the background and whatever.
You're doing that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you don't care about the past, whatever, then it's for I guess it should be for everybody. You don't matter, even though this person, Hitler should just be allowed to go free.
Kamala is not Hitler. Kamala did not kill.
We're not talking about Kamala.
Well, wait a minute, because y'all listen, focus. Y'all convoluting the issue here. Y'all bringing up Kamala. Y'all bringing up Andrew Gillum and a whole bunch of other people ain't got nothing. Did Kamala kill 6 million Jews with her Koji?
No, but she
No.
killed a bunch of black folks in the California.
And that's where the topic should be.
Again, I was telling you on a subject that I did today using that with the Joe Brown reference. Kamala really has nothing to do with this. The point, let's stay on point, is we need to do our research on people before we give them our support and we look like damn idiots. That's why you don't see any of these Biden and Harris supporters out here talking the big talk that they were talking and strolling to the polls. You don't see none of these people nowhere. You want to know why? Because they got duped. They got bamboozled because they did not do their research on the candidate that they helped mislead to where we're at today. And now they're going to throw us some funky ass Juneteenth like we're stupid enough to fall for that.
So let me ask you a question, Dimitri. If there was a black candidate, whether they run for president or vice president, a man, do you think that would have been a major issue during the election run? If they had something in their background similar to Kamala? The accusations, and that's what I'm going to call them, the accusations of sexual impropriety, do you think that would have been a big issue?
I mean, it probably, because I think I would be remiss to say that double standards do not exist. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's plenty of times throughout history where men have been accused of doing something and gotten away with it. I mean, hell, Bill Clinton got his whole top polished in the Oval Office by a woman who was significantly younger than him. In fact, she was an intern to the White House, and he got reelected. Did he not?
Yeah.
To the highest office in the land.
They did a good job on Bill, but like I say, they kind of...
Did he get reelected?
Got reelected.
So that answers your question, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that the thing is it's not as important as if it's a woman compared to a man. If we got to think about it's in the past, let's worry about now, then okay, Clarence Thomas shouldn't have went what he went through when they had him up for the Supreme Court with Anita Hill.
All right, so let me flip it in reverse, okay? I want to flip it in reverse like special ed. All right, check it out. On the flip side of that, why are we not raking Willie Brown over the coals for sleeping with somebody who he was over, you know, as far as an employee and all of that? Why is she getting dragged? Because in essence, she was Monica Lewinsky, you know, back in her day when she was coming up through the ranks under Willie Brown. So why are we dragging him over the coals?
Okay. Number one, she wasn't Monica Lewinsky. As if you saw the clip with Joe Brown, I don't know where he got his facts. I don't know if this is factual or not, but he said she was a hoe back in at Howard. That's the word. She was sleeping with everybody at Howard. That's the word. Wait.
At college.
Wait. I just gave the disclaimer. Whatever. So, you know, she has hoism in her. She jumped through the ranks. Willie Brown right now is not in politics, so he can't be held accountable to whatever. But wait a minute though. When he was dating her during that time, he did get raked over the coals, and he did suffer political problems in regards to Kamala Harris when she became the AG of California, because he stopped being mayor of San Francisco in 1994. So we haven't seen him since, other than when me and you saw him at that time when we were doing our thing. But yeah, he paid a political price, but not like a political price of whatever.
Kamala sleeping with Kamala?
No, but he didn't pay a political price because the simple fact was she was known to do that. She slept with the DA of San Francisco before she got the position. She was known to be a bed hopper. That's just how she got to where she is.
Who was that DA that she slept with?
The one that was prior to her before she joined the office. I can't remember his name, but I could look it up.
Bingo. You don't remember his name because nobody held his feet to the fire behind sleeping with somebody who worked up under him. So y'all proving my point that we want to talk about all Kamala's sexual conquest, but we forgetting the names of the men she was sleeping with. How did that work?
Well, they didn't ascend to the presidency and mislead hundreds of thousands of folks. Her sleeping with these white men don't give a damn about black folks. They don't.
Was it a secret that she was sleeping with Willie Brown when she got to the presidency?
No, Willie Brown was married, and she, for 5 years, stepped out with this man who was separated from his wife at parties and stuff. It was a known fact.
He was married but separated.
Yeah, he was married but separated. He had separated from his wife in 1981. They had a 10-year courtship.
Married but separated.
Well, I'll say this is some horrible gossip and conversation. Why? Because it's the truth. I don't understand that. But I don't, let me just say this here. She go suck all the ass and dick she want to suck. Do your motherfucking job. And right now, whether she's an ass sucker, dick licker, whatever, she ain't doing shit for black people. So that tell me that you are not the person for the job. That's just how I feel.
Exactly. But the point is, we need to know what is behind some of this legislation that is being done. We let these people, we give them all these passes, and then we suffer the consequences. And that's the whole point of this. This Juneteenth thing is basically, they're throwing us a bone because they know, just like the HBCU folks and all these other folks are going to mislead everybody and get everybody excited. Like, oh, we got a little holiday. Ooh, yeah, girl. Ooh, ski-wee, ski-wee. You're going to see the whole playbook. What's behind this? So would you rather get a holiday or would you rather get your damn reparations check? That's the point.
Well, of course, we know that is reparations. So what y'all want to talk about next?
Thank God.
Oh, I got something. All right. So we're going to lighten up the mood, I hope. All right. So I often see this thing trending around, and it's called The Good Wife's Guide. It was from Housekeeping Monthly in May 13th, 1955. Okay. And some of the things that is said that a wife should do. Now, I want the men to answer this question. Who does he have to be worthy of these things? And women, do you think these things are outdated? Do you do this, or could you see yourself doing some? I won't read them all. Doing some of these things for a man. Now, remember, this is 1955. Okay. Have dinner ready, plan ahead, even the night before, to have a delicious meal ready on time for his return. This is a way of letting him know that you have been thinking about him and are concerned about his needs. Most men are hungry when they get home, and the prospect of a good meal is a part of the warm welcome needed. And the other thing says, prepare yourself, take 15 minutes to rest so you'll be refreshed when he arrives. Touch up your makeup, put a ribbon in your hair, and be fresh looking. He has just been with a lot of work, weary people. Let's see here. Clear away the clutter. Make one last trip through the main parts of the house before your husband arrives. Run a dust cloth over the tables. And it says also, and there's a couple other things, but it says minimize all the noise at the time of his arrival. Eliminate all the noise of the washer, dryer, vacuum. Encourage the children to be quiet. Be happy to see him. Says don't greet him with complaints and problems. Also says don't complain if he's late for dinner or if he stays out all night. Count this as minor compared to what he might have gone through at work. Let's see here. And it says, lastly, is a whole bunch of stuff. A good wife always knows her place. What do you guys think about that?
Man, the good old days.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just a little different than some folk. It sounds very white. And what works for the white family sometimes does not work for the black family. Now, if this was 1955 and we attribute it to 2021, I don't know if mama gonna be able to do all that because she working just as many hours as her husband. So old husband gonna have to pitch in and do his part. It sounds good. It probably worked when our great grandmas was in the building, but I don't know if it would work right now because you're dealing with 2-income households. So yeah, it sounds good, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it has any application to the current day, especially now that women want to go out there and work and head their households and stuff like that. That would have no bearing on today's thing. But Ragnar has a good question, 5-star. He says, you're running for the school board. School choice. Why should a child be forced to attend a failing school?
Why should a school be failing? Kids don't fail schools. The administration failed the schools. I get Ragnar. We seem to want to debate about this every night. Schools are failing because you took the high-performing kids out the schools that they were zoned to, and you made the other schools attractive to be able to send them over there. Look, man, Ragnar, you're a Yates line. God damn it, tell me that when we went to school, we didn't have 3,500 kids in there. Tell me we didn't have every program that you could imagine, from clean and press. You didn't have to take your stuff to the cleaners. We had one in the school. You see what I'm saying? We had auto mechanics in the school. But when you took those programs out of the school, parents tend to follow the programs. So the high-performing kids go to schools that they label high-performing. Now, the people that are labeling the schools, Demetria, like Bob Sanborn with Children at Risk, he'll label all the black schools F's. They fail. Mr. Sanborn, have you ever been to these schools? Have you ever been to these schools and see what these children go through on a daily basis? Would you send your child to a school that mimics a minimum security prison? Would you send your child there? So parents follow programs. Also, for those out there that feel like athletics is not important, you really think your child go to Shadow Creek because of the goddamn math class? No, they go because they got a state championship ranked football team. That drives your enrollment up. So the more kids in the school, the more money that comes in, the more they can add to the school, so the school is not failing. Kids don't fail. The school system fails the schools. This is what I believe in. This is what I found out the morning I woke up and went to my old high school, and I saw that they didn't have shit in there to offer those children. So would you, Demetria, would you allow your daughter to go to a school that only has 3 extracurricular activities? Remember, you were the student union. You had your issues in college with the student union, right? Why would your child like to go to Lamar that has 27 extracurricular activities compared to going to Yates, who only has 3? Would you send your child to a school that has 2 AP classes compared to a school that has 15 to 20? No, you'd send your child where you think they could get the best education. Then you put these goddamn astronauts in the classroom and they masquerade as teachers. They can't control the classroom. And then all you do on our campuses, when a child has a disciplinary problem, you make them retarded. You label them special ed. So school choice is a damn joke. And here's my thing. This has been going on forever. As I was raising children, Ragnar, and I'm telling you something, I graduated from Jackie A. Senior High School, and every kid in my household did too. And I lived right across the street from Hightower High School in Fort Benning, and would get my fat ass up every morning at 5:30 and drive them all the way to Yates. Because if it was good enough for me, if it was good enough for you, why is it not good enough for your child?
Well, since you asked me that's cool. That's cool. I was just reading something. Simone Biles' brother was acquitted of murder charges. That's awesome. So anyway, since you asked me, when I was in high school, we as Black students didn't have a Black student union. We never had one until my senior year, when I rallied all my homegirls together and everybody I knew who was interested and spearheaded us getting a Black student union. And I tell y'all this all the time. I asked all the Black faculty and they told me no. So our advisor was a white man by the name of Mr. Hughes. We just needed somebody present, right? So we can have it. Also, when I was in cosmetology school, we didn't have all the things we needed. I'm 18 years old. I'm getting all these grown ass other women together talking about, let's sign this petition. This is what we gonna do to get what we need. The administration tried to blow us off, and I said, we going to the newspaper saying that y'all got our Black dollars, but we don't have our Black supplies. And the next day she called me into the office and said, make a list of everything you need. And I was a child damn near back then. So the point that I'm making is, if we know our schools are failing and they don't have what we need, even on the basic minimum, and some of the extracurricular activities, because that's what taxpayer dollars pay for, right? So our kids can do extra stuff. If we know our schools don't have those things, don't wait until they put the closed sign on the school. We need to be proactive now. And I say that to say, if I, as a child with not even 1/10 of the knowledge that I have now, could do that, then imagine what people could do, adults can do, if they only just looked into it. Hell, I didn't have Google back then. I didn't have any of that stuff. What I had was heart, and knew that I should be having those things because my money was paying for it and my mama and daddy's tax money was paying for those things. So some of that is on us.
Well, let me jump in here. As far as the ASVAB, let me ask you a question, Demetri, and just be honest with us for a second. Your hair is nice. Your hair is very nice. How much did it cost on an average? How much does it cost?
I paid $180, $200 plus tip.
$180 plus $200 with the tip. Okay, so here's my question. You don't find it strange, and was it an African American that did your hair or white?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
An African American or another race?
African.
Come on now, I ain't gonna let no white be playing with my
No, I'm just asking because I need to make them understand where I'm going. So if that's the case, why in every single African American school in the Houston Independent School District, why would you pull cosmetology out the school when these kids can get their certification and come out of there and open their own shops?
Where were the parents to say, oh, hell no? Where were those parents?
Let me tell you something. You had a lot of good people fighting in, but you had a superintendent. See, it's not the fact that they were not fighting. It's the fact that they didn't know how to fight.
I don't buy it. And listen,
no, I do buy it. I do buy it.
I went to back then, and somebody asked me, I graduated in 1989. Yes, I'm 50. Graduated in 1989. Let me finish. My school was an predominantly all white school. It's all Hispanic now, but it was predominantly all white with the exception of some Black people. So I don't buy that you don't know how. I always tell people when they say, I don't know how to do it, I say, you should be asking, how do I do it? That's what we need to do. Okay,
I get what you're saying. It makes sense. In your world, it makes sense. But you just got here. So here's the question. I am in a city with millions of people. They're educated, some are not, some have passion, whatever. Why is it that one motherfucker can come through and dismantle the whole fucking school district because I choose to fight a different way? But the way that I fight, a lot of people, he wrong for that. No, I figured out that they were devils. And in order to beat these devils, I had to become as evil as they were. And then when I became as evil as they were, Ragnar, are you listening? They were going to take your high school and put it behind Holman Street Baptist Church. Not on my goddamn watch. So I had to become the devil to them. Ragnar, they were failing, Mr. Ragnar. 3 years later, they're in IB World School because you're going to give them everything that they work for. You're going to give them everything that our tax money paid for. And if not, I'm going to destroy you in the process. See, Donovan, you go to war, you're the military guy. But before you go to war, you got to have a super tight plan to defeat the enemy. You see what I'm saying? So as I say, whether running for office or not, I get attacked all the time. All the time. I got to keep the family out the business just so they don't get attacked. But when I go in, I'm trying to cut your goddamn head off because I know what you're doing to them kids. So some days, D, it's really about how you fight them. Because if me and you walk into the school board office, you're going to walk to the front desk. You're going to say, I have a problem. They're going to tell you, okay, Miss Culture, you need to make a right, go down there to the room, all the way at the end on the right, last door on the right. I'm going to come right behind you. Mr. Monroe, you know where to go. Yeah, because I'm going to make a left. And I'm going to go all the way down the hallway to the last door on the right at the left. But you don't know that. When you walk through the door, you walk through respectfully. You walk through very dignified. You want to solve the issue. You want to get this solved for your child. But they know you don't know. So they ain't going to send you to EEO where you file the official complaints. They're going to send you down there to that other room to the parent center. These motherfuckers ain't going to call you back. They ain't going to solve your problem. You're going to spend 6-7 months on some bullshit. By the time you do that, in 10 days, I done solved my problem. So you got to know how to fight them. But in school choice, a lot of people are big on school choice. And if that's the case, then do what you do. I believe in public education in our communities. I don't believe that Demetra should have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to send her child to a school on the other side of town. I believe that her tax money is spent in her neighborhood. Therefore, the school in her neighborhood should be up to standards. And if I'm wrong about that, why did, when the pandemic started, all the goddamn black kids didn't have no laptops? But the white kids did. They had everything they needed. Man, we got to wake up and see what these people doing. School choice is a way of bamboozling us out of our schools. And once they take our schools from us, oh, well, the school couldn't perform, the Negroes wasn't going to come. Soon as they take the school, they sell it to a charter company. They open up the goddamn school right there in your neighborhood, and the same dumbass kids that couldn't perform all of a sudden perform at a high level. For real. It is what it is. My baby Jalen Monroe went to a black school, a poor black school, one that quote unquote wasn't performing high. So you tell me, look at her comments. I'll just say this here, D, and you'll like this. She get it from her mama.
No doubt. And you don't have to convince me of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not one to, and then, no. I want to go back to your comment, what you said you had to fight them because they're the devil. You had to fight like them. I mean, you were doing what you're supposed to do. That's not fighting evil. Shoot, that was, no.
And I agree with you. When I first went in dressed nice, speaking very eloquently, and these motherfuckers ran me through the ringer. And I just said, man, I'm not going to do this. No, y'all not going to do this to me. So all of a sudden, I switched the game up. And once I switched the game up, then we started getting results. Can I be
honest with you too? I know for a fact, kind of, sort of, that white supremacy and white institutions, especially when they deal with us, I don't care what it is. It could be your rental leasing office. It could be the school. It could be anywhere, the grocery store. They automatically assume that black people are stupid. Mm-hmm. They just feel like I'm going to overtalk them. I'm going to use these words, and then I'm going to say all this stuff, and they're going to say, well, okay. But then when they see that you are not who they think they are, they think you are, then they start to say, okay, because I have people they do that to me a lot. And then when I'm articulate, as they like to say when they talk to smart Black people, oh, you're very articulate. Then they're like, oh, I can't run game on this one. So I say that to say, and I'm not saying we're stupid because we're not, but a lot of times we suffer from the appeal of authority of them just being white, of them just being a white school or a white school board or being some white person in some sort of an authority role. And we just say, oh, okay, well, they must be right, instead of saying, okay, man, I may not understand everything you're saying, but I'm going to need you to break this down so I could take notes and dissect it and then tell you my opinion or if I agree with it. I had my leasing company for this house try to run some game on me. They told me, oh, well, that's your responsibility. I'm going to tell you how my daughter and her sister cracking up. I said, the next time you call me, you better be calling me about when somebody is coming to fix this goddamn problem. I said, because per the state of Texas renters' rights, I am within my rights to hold my rent from you. And do you know what she said to me? Okay. And you know the next phone call I got? Miss so-and-so will be there tomorrow. I know the hell you will. Now, had I said, oh, well, I guess you're right, then I'd be dealing with the problem. So it's all about knowing is the point that I'm making.
Which goes to the original point, knowing the stuff behind the scenes before you talk on it. If you would have been like the appeal to authority, like you were just saying, okay, whatever. No, you knew what your rights were, and you knew that before you talked to the woman. So kudos to you. That's my point. We need to start knowing before we start talking.
Now, the same way, Dee, that your college didn't have a Black student union, right?
My high school.
Your high school didn't have a Black student, whatever. People don't find it strange that in the Black schools, we don't have student councils.
Why not though? Why not?
They don't want them to have a voice. Now, the reason I put Ragner's comment up, because I want you to understand something. He said, all the schools will improve with competition. Do you have a clue, Ragner, that they created a student congress in the Houston Independent School District? Basically, it was a district-wide student council. So this was a diverse group of children. Asians, Blacks, white, Latinos, everybody. Indians. The kids wanted the competition. One of the kids that I represented at HSPVA, who has now graduated from Spelman, was one of those kids. Do you know those kids wanted the poor kids in the low performing schools to have everything that they needed so they could compete with them academically? Do you know what the district did? They disbanded the student congress. They disbanded the student congress because these kids became powerful overnight. They believed in their hearts. How can we say that we're better academically when they don't have the same things that we have that make us great academically? They didn't want to hear that, bro. And if you're going to support school choice, you're supporting white supremacy. School choice was created to circumvent Brown versus the Board of Education, because white people still did not want their children to go to school with Black kids. So they created school choice to circumvent it. They were so mad about Brown that in North Carolina, they kept their children out of school for 5 years. But they knew they couldn't keep going with that plan. So school choice popped up. So right now, when you keep screaming school choice, you are supporting white supremacy in the educational sector.
Well, two things. No, Donovan didn't get me. What he did was use a red herring. He used a distraction that had nothing to do with what I said. Kamala's coochie ain't had nothing to do with.
No, you didn't get out of this.
No, hold on, partner. Kamala's coochie had nothing to do with me knowing about my rights. Okay, it has nothing to do with appeal to authority. So nice try. And the second part is, Gary, I mean, like, why don't we just create our own stuff? You know, my daughter was the president, let me finish, the president of her Black Student Union as well. And they made it so dope to where it's like, we don't need to be a part of what they doing over there. We proud to be doing our Black things. It ran so well to where her advisor was like, this is the best BSU class that I've ever presided over as the advisor, because they were so busy trying to do Black shit instead of being included with everybody else. If they disbanded the Congress, the diversity Congress, which I hate that word, diversity, then they should have just continued on with their own. I don't get it.
No, and I get that, but where we messed up at was when our schools were segregated, we were pumping out more lawyers. We were pumping out more doctors. You feel what I'm saying? We had fabulous teachers. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is to answer your question, when they try to do it, the districts will step in and shut it down. They will shut it down. And I don't understand how you got total autonomy over your Black school in a decentralized school district as a principal, and yet you won't stand up. No, because your money is more important to making sure that these kids have a great educational experience. So my thing is, and I'll ask this question and maybe Donovan can answer. I'm running on a 1986 diploma. I don't give a damn if you're in school choice or not. The old man walking circles around your asses in them college classrooms, because I got a halfway decent education at an all-Black high school, and come up out that motherfucker and 30 years later walk back into a college classroom and dog walking you good open enrollment and school choice motherfuckers. How the old man whooping your ass in this classroom, man? How I'm doing it? Because education is about money nowadays. It's not about education. They're not teaching those children anything. Black, white, indifferent, they're not teaching them nothing. And we got to accept the fact that school choice has crippled the African-American schools. In the state of Texas, there's only 7 all-Black high schools left. As soon as they figured out we could whoop their ass on the fields and on the courts, they got rid of PVIL, Prairie View Interscholastic League. They got rid of them. You feel me? So let's make them inclusive with us. When we kicked their ass in Odessa ass in 85, they went to open enrollment. We can't have this happen no more. Let these folk go to any school they want to go to. It's all a plot. And if you buy into it, that's on you. But to even think that Black kids cannot learn at the level that white kids can, no, they can't. Because you set the table for them not to be able to. And you set that table a long time ago. So when we talking about closing the economic gap, when we talking about closing the educational gap, the only way you're going to do it is if you right your own. And if you never want to right your own, it ain't going to never happen.
Yeah, statistically, they say that most kids in general, when they go to school, the dropout rate is like 43% or something, like people drop out because, number one, it's not that they don't want to go to school and that they're not mature enough to handle it. Most of us go back to school when we've matured enough, and then we understand that we're there for a reason. We're there to get something. Time is money, and so on and so forth in regards to our careers. When we're young and, you just finished high school and you jump right into college, some of us are just burnt out at that point, to do what it is we need to do, especially if you're an athlete and you don't make it to certain areas. You got other options you need to go to. So, but then again, you're never too old. My mom is 71 years old and she's working on her degree. So there you go.
So you're saying with school choice, Black kids cannot go to a white school? Yes, they can. That ain't what I said, dude. You hearing what you want to hear. Why your Black ass went to Yates then? You the motherfucker you are right now because of the education you got in an all-Black high school. Tell me that. You go to Lamar, it's overpopulated. It's overpopulated, but yet they have everything from the elementary level all the way up to the high school. They have everything that they need. You can't show me the same things on my side of town. Get your ass out your bubble. Bring your ass to our side of town and show me on the elementary level that you got the same education going on that you got in River Oaks on the educational level. Show me on the middle school level that you got the same thing going on in Bel Air that you got going on the south side. No, you don't. So my question to you, if black kids are so inferior with education, how the fuck you go from a failing school to IB World School? Can you explain that to me? Because if you give them what they need, we'll dog walk your ass in the classroom. But if you don't give them what you need, then your argument is valid, brother.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I don't, I'll be honest with you. I don't really fully understand the whole school choice thing and all of that. Like I said, my child is almost 29. Yeah, so
indeed, if these black schools are so bad, Demetri, look me in the eye. Why the fuck you white folks started running your kids over there in their senior year to get so they can jump up on that GPA so they can go to college for free? Because at the white school, your ass is mid-level average. But then you come over to our schools your senior year and your GPA go through the roof and you get to bumping our kids down on the rankings.
But let me ask you that though. How is that? Is that to say that our kids aren't performing well academically to where a white kid can implant to that school and then usurp the GPA situation? Like, how is that working?
It's working to the point that we've got them to a point where you have to at least be in the school by your junior year. Because if your daughter shows up her freshman year and she's there for 4 years, and then when she goes into her senior year, and at last, you only got one semester that count your senior year for your GPA. That's your first semester, right? Your daughter's sitting at a 4.0. Oh, and man, my baby finna graduate. She number 3 in her class. Then all of a sudden, on the first day of school, the white folk or the Asians or the Indians bring their kid over there. Your child and got bumped, and now she ain't number 3 no more. She number 6. The more they bring, your child steady getting bumped. You see what I'm saying? And what helps bump them is the fact they took all these AP classes that they had over at the white school that they didn't have at the black schools. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, when you think about what they're doing and how they're doing it, these people have gotten very comfortable trying to bring their children over there at the end of the educational cycle in high school, just for the purpose of pushing their ranking up. But some of us have pushed back and say, no, take your child back where you got them. Wherever they were prior to you bringing them here, take them back over there and let their GPA stand for them. It's a whole lot that people don't want to admit. See, the money follow the kid in HISD. The last day in October, I think it is once that kid is in that school for the last day of October, the school gets all the funding. So Ragnar, tell me if I'm wrong. After that last day in October, how many black kids get forced back to their zone schools? They go back to their zone schools, but the money don't follow them. They'll kick them out. They just get them there to get the money. They get them there to get the money, and then they kick them out. I know a bunch of parents did that shit. But at the end of the day, if we're going to sit here and big up these quote unquote white schools, Negro, you graduated from an all black school. Why you ain't fighting for our school like that? Why you ain't on the front line for our school? I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I'm going to keep fighting my fight for my babies, and that's what it is. I don't have to get no results from no local recruiter. Okay, you want to talk about results? Wheatland was a failing school. Okay, all these kids went and signed up to take the ASVAB. That was a requirement. Whether a school could fail or not, that was one of the requirements, D. When Wheatland gets out of IR, They questioned how many kids signed up. Well, now this don't sound right. You set the table. So now they did it. Now it's still a problem. And guess what? I can still be the knuckle. I ain't got to pass no ASVAB. I wouldn't give, if you trying to give me the ASVAB in high school, I'm going to just go through that motherfucker and just bubble. Because back then, I ain't want to hear nothing about no military. I'm going to just bubble, 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 bubble. I don't care nothing about that. That don't mean that they're a failure. Stop looking down on our kids, bro.
Yes, indeed. And so anyway, I guess we'll get ready for our closing thoughts, whatever they call. Donovan, what say you?
Well, I'm going to say this. Yeah, I did get Demetra, no matter what she said. My whole point, she made my whole point tonight was you've got to know the rules or the person's background before you try to defend them and know what your rights is. There is something behind this Juneteenth thing that is symbolism. Just remember that. It's symbolism as a whole. You can give us this, but you can't give us reparations. You can give us this, but you can't give us student loan debt forgiveness. And that's for everybody, not just Black people. You know what I mean? So know the backstory before you try to defend something that you know nothing about. At least that's what you should do if you're going to get an argument with an intelligent person. So final thought also is, please do not forget to hit that donate button for the campaign. You just heard some wisdom of a candidate that is running for the school board. And I guarantee you're not going to hear that kind of knowledge and common sense dropped from any other candidate. So do that. And I just want to say, you guys be careful out there. It's hot. Drink your water. And watch out for the race soldiers out there. They're still shooting Black folks.
You proved your point, huh? I'm going to let you pretend that you did, even though you started off talking about Kamala's, who she was doing to try to prove your point with whole apples and oranges and all of that. I'm going to let you believe you did, because that'll make you sleep at night, knowing I didn't eat your lunch tonight. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this Juneteenth thing, I don't know. I mean, I've celebrated it for quite a while. My mom, who is no longer here, she would always go to the Juneteenth festival in Riverside, California. That's where I'm from. My mom was an author, and she would have book, sort of like, it wasn't a book fair, but she would have writing contests and teach the kids about writing and stuff, because she was a publisher as well. And so when I think of Juneteenth, I think of her and her giving back to the community, for free, teaching people how to write. And she is responsible for me being a good writer and a good thinker and all of that. And so, yeah, I mean, Juneteenth, we should celebrate that every day and work toward being free, not just physically, but mentally as well. So
my final thoughts are simple. The Negro still is not free. Say, man, it's the reason we the best in the business. It's the War Zone every night, 7 o'clock. YouTube and Facebook. Say, man, I want to thank my good friend, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. Want to send Willie Brown a message. Like Devin would tell you, fucking over your for show pussy. For some more pussy. Don't leave you with no pussy. Until tomorrow night, man, we gonna holler at you.